Welcome to the Truckers Network radio show on tncradio.live, where we offer the news, weather, traffic, sports, information, and entertainment our commercial drivers want to hear. I'm your host, Shelley Johnson. Speaking of entertainment, who doesn't love good music? The Hunter Brothers are one of Canada's hottest country music groups and making waves on the country scene. As a music sensation, they've won a total of 23 SCMA awards since 2017, including Group of the Year, Album of the Year, and Fans' Choice Entertainer of the Year. They have 3 certified gold singles in Canada with the songs Born and Raised, Those Were the Nights, and Lost. The song Lost peaked at number 1 on Canadian country radio after charting for 20 weeks. In 2020, they received 2 Juno Awards, including Breakthrough Group of the Year and Country Album of the Year. Their music has earned over 61 million streams, over 10 million TikTok views, and they have over 600,000 social media followers. The Hunter Brothers are an amazing group of brothers who are not only accomplished musicians, but they've been in professional sports too. They've already had a lot of hits in the music world. This is one of them. It's called Hard Dirt.
Bring on the heat, bring on the sun, bring on the clouds hanging over me, saying I'm the only one, yeah. Bring on the doubt, tell me I'll never be good enough. Bring on the hurt, bring on the past, bring on the memories of the pieces that I'm never gonna get back. Fine, I'm looking up, cause I believe in a bigger love. I grow better in hard dirt, I dig deeper when the river runs dry. Struggle makes me stronger, keeps me reaching for the sky. You don't know what the rain's worth till it finds you out in the desert. Learning how my heart works, I grow better in hard dirt. I grow better in hard dirt. Dreams keep me alive, even when I'm weak and even when I'm barely getting by. Blood, sweat, and tears put the fruit on the vine. Someday I'm gonna rise, someday I'm gonna shine. I grow better in hard dirt, I dig deeper when the river runs dry. Struggle makes me stronger, keeps me reaching for the sky. You don't know what the rain's worth till it finds you out in the desert. Learning how my heart works, I grow better in hard dirt. Blood, sweat, and tears put the fruit on the vine. Someday you're gonna see this heart of mine. Blood, sweat, and tears put the fruit on the vine. Someday I'm gonna rise, someday I'm gonna. I grow better in hard dirt, I dig deeper when the river runs dry. The struggle makes me stronger, reaching for the sky. You don't know what the rain's worth till it finds you out in the desert. Learning how my heart works, I grow better in hard dirt. I grow better in hard dirt, I dig deeper when the river runs dry. Struggle makes me stronger, keeps me reaching for the sky. You don't know what the rain's worth till it finds you out in the desert. Learning how my heart works, I grow better in hard dirt.
I have the pleasure and the honor of featuring the Hunter Brothers today. They're a group of 5 brothers. They include JJ, Dusty, Luke, Brock, and Ty. I have Ty and JJ with me today. This is going to be so much fun. I really appreciate you being on the show.
Shelley, thank you so much for having us. We're really excited to join you today.
You know, I love your music. You've got great music. You've got quite the background. You've been at it for a few years, and you're really making some serious waves on the music scene. I believe your debut single was El Dorado in 2016, correct?
That's exactly right. Yep, and it's been a crazy ride ever since.
Oh, but that's fun, isn't it? You never know what to expect, and you've been rolling forward at quite the momentum. What do you think, Ty?
Yeah, we actually, it's gone back as far as my wedding was just before we signed our record deal. And so this kind of more professional country career has been basically dialed into when I got married. So there's kind of this framework, but we've been doing it pretty much our whole lives. I'm 29 now, and we look back to videos of my mom being pregnant with me on stage. And so it's been a
Oh,
long
cool.
time coming to bring us to this particular crossroad.
So it's been a family tradition, it sounds like.
Yeah, it sure has been. This is JJ, and we're actually the bookends of the brothers. People always ask us, are you guys actually blood brothers, or is it just kind of the name and you kind of fall into that? But we are actually blood brothers. There's five of us. We don't have any other siblings, and Ty's the youngest. I'm the oldest, and the other guys are, of course, are in between. And it's been a lifelong thing. We grew up with music in the home. There was a little gospel festival that actually started up down in our corner of our province back probably about 30 years ago, and we got invited to perform as a local artist. We had a 15-minute set that we prepared for. Mom was heavily involved in music her whole life, put us in piano when we were young and sat by us hours, at a time, teaching us piano and helping us through that. Dad's family was very musical. His father was self-taught in about 7 or 8 instruments, and his older three siblings sang. So there was quite a heritage there. And so when we got started as a family all those years ago, we had no idea that it would kind of eventually become what it is today.
So it's been a family affair. That's great. When were you first inspired to become professional musicians?
Well, there was a few factors. I
Mhm.
think hockey was also a huge part of our lives. So we
Oh,
always
I
had.
know. Yeah, that's amazing too. You're fabulous hockey players.
Yeah, well, thank you. I guess being Canadian boys, it's a little bit natural that that would be part of our lives. But
Sure.
that's kind of how it was. In the wintertime, we played hockey. We'd come home, put the crop in the ground and the farm. We'd sing on the weekends, kind of weekend warriors, intermingled with training for our next year's hockey season. And
Hmm.
yeah, we all played rep hockey. Four of us played junior, and three of us went on to play different levels of pro or all the way around North America. And so we were accustomed to traveling the continent long before the music started. But I think slowly over time, as our professional careers ended in the hockey, there were some injuries that happened, some various things. We just realized when we all got back home that we had never really given the music a genuine opportunity, and so we were doing family music at that time with our parents, and we wanted to try something with just the boys. And mom and dad, of course, were in great support of that. And through a few different transitions, we've eventually landed on the country world. And being country boys ourselves, growing up on the farm, it really made a lot of sense. And so ever since then, that's been part of our lives, the country music world.
You know, being raised on a farm, you know what hard work's all about. And I mean, that's serious grassroots. What part of Canada are you from, and where did you have the farm?
Yeah, we're just about 50 miles north of the Montana Saskatchewan border, and
Okay.
we're in Western Canada on the prairies, so the flatlands. We got wind blowing like crazy today out on the prairies, but uh, yeah, the farming has just always been a part of our heritage. We are fourth generation farmers, and so our grandparents before us, our father and our grandparents before us, and then even before that, through my dad's mom's side, the farm has been a big part of our life, and so the country music really made a lot of sense to us. We
Hmm.
grew up listening to country music on the radio while we were out on the fields, and
Sure.
listening to all the great country artists that have gone before us. We were always drawn towards the groups because we always sang, the harmonies were something that we leaned into. So groups like Diamond Rio and
Oh, yeah.
Alabama and Blackhawk and all those artists really had a profound impact on us as the years went on. Of course, Rascal Flats, and now more currently Little Big Town. But there was so many great artists. I love the 90s country and listen to Alan Jackson and all the greats with all their music.
No, I find it interesting that you had time to do all of this. I imagine your farm's pretty sizable. So, I mean, you're up at the crack of dawn and the work's never done until the sun goes down, right?
Yeah, and I think anybody that grew up in with a farming background or a trucking background or any a lot of people. There's a lot of hardworking people out there, and know all about getting up early, and that's just the nature of the farm. And I think that has been an important aspect for our lives. You learn that dedication, you learn that
Hmm.
responsibility at a young age. We were out on the implements, and it's continued on, and now as having children of our own, it's neat seeing them get excited about the farm as well, and it it really becomes a way of life. And for us brothers, it has been. Ty's here with me. You know, he is not working on the farm right now, but the other four are, and it's just been something that we've really valued. And I think regardless of where you've grown up, anybody that spent time on the farm, there's so many things that you can be thankful for. Just the open skies and the discipline and the responsibility that's given, and those things really impact you for your whole life.
And I totally understand it. Both my parents were raised on farms, and it really never gets out of your blood. You love being in the country. You can really appreciate it, and the land is what keeps us alive.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Ty often says we've got a new song that came out that kind of pokes fun at the different implements that different people drive, or the different kinds of trucks, and having fun with that. But at the end of it all, it's like he said, we're all feeding the world together, and that's a common ground that we all can stand on, and that I think really is a value to the entire world that we all take a lot of pride in.
Sure. And there's so many variables in agriculture. I don't think a lot of people stop to think about that when they go to the grocery store. They don't think about where it came from. Farmers really are kind of dependent upon Mother Nature and her moods. You're going to have a good crop one year and maybe not such a good crop the next. So, I mean, there are a lot of risk factors involved. And it's kind of that way, too, in the music industry, isn't it? It's not always predictable.
Oh, that's a great point, and we couldn't agree more. The farming aspect, and I know all different people come from different faith backgrounds, and I always want to be respectful. But for us as farmers, I don't know how you could live without that faith aspect, because you put these seeds in the ground in the springtime, and then you're praying for rain. You're hoping
Yep.
that the rains come at the right time, and then that the frost stays away in the harvest time, and that we fought some grasshoppers this year. There's always something that you're up against, and that element of trusting that when you put those seeds in the ground, that there's going to be a harvest is a profound plays a big part of our own lives. But then you cross over to really any avenue of life. But the music, we feel the same way. You might put out a song that you absolutely love, and you think this is the one, and for some reason it doesn't resonate with people, and that's fine. It's but you never know. You have to do what you believe is the right thing to do.
Sure.
You do your best, and then you see where it lands.
Well, you certainly are resonating with the Canadian marketplace. Your first top 10 single on Canadian country radio was Born and Raised. What was that about? What inspired that?
Yeah, this is Ty talking here.
Mhm.
I think that everybody has, well, not I think, everybody does have a story, everybody has a name. Quite often, when you start conversing with someone, one of the first phrases that can come out is, I was born and raised in such and such a place, or it might be a question, posed as a question, where were you born and raised? It's a conversation piece. And I think behind that statement speaks to somebody's story, somebody's legacy. And this particular song speaks to our roots and how we were raised growing up. And I think that maybe resonated with people in the sense that you could place yourself in those lyrics, and it would take you back to maybe a gravel road, or back to the farm, or it would take you to the family that you grew up with. And something fun about this particular track is we recorded it in JJ's basement. We flew our producer up from Nashville to a little town here, Shaunavon, Saskatchewan, recorded it in a basement because my wife was, she was about to have a baby, our first baby, and it was very appropriate that we would be recording a song called Born and Raised.
Oh, that's
Moments
great.
before, and I kid you not, she went into labor within 24 hours of us recording the track.
Oh, wow.
The process and the result of the song was definitely memorable.
Well, it sounds like the baby was inspired.
Yeah, it was. She just aligned herself with that moment in time. So
But the funny thing is, our second top 10 single was a song called "Those Were the Nights," and we recorded that the same night. And Ty ran upstairs after he finished recording the leads for "Born and Raised," and found out his wife, who was hanging out with my wife upstairs, that she had just started labor pains, and
my.
ran downstairs. And I said, "Are we going to do "Those Were the Nights?" And he said, "We better do it now, or it's not getting done." And so, Born and Raised, and the fact that those were the nights, it truly was the night. So it was, that was
Yeah.
a fun one. One added thing, Shelley, too, we recorded the music video for Born and Raised in our parents' backyard here on the farm.
Oh,
And if
that's neat.
anyone wants to check that out, it was very special for us because we looked out over that crowd of people. We have about 1,800 people that live in our small town, and about 1,200 people showed up for the video shoot. And we
Wow.
were looking out at the teachers and the mentors and the friends and the influences that we had had in our lives growing up, the people that had essentially born and raised us, so to speak. And
Hmm.
it was a very special moment for us.
It really takes a village, doesn't it? And the fact that you had all of that support with the mentors and so forth that you had besides your parents, that means a lot. I mean, that's something it's a family heirloom in addition to a wonderful video for everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly how we described it. Was it's a time capsule.
Mhm.
There's videos and there's moments in your career that you're very thankful are documented, and that's one of them. Another aspect of that was the charity side of things, where we had multiple charities that we were working hand in hand with, and it was just that group of 1,200 people. I believe it was over $60,000 that they raised that evening for charity, and I think it just once again spoke to what that song communicates. And so I think it's always really special when there's a story that resonates like that alongside a song that does well, because it just creates that full experience. Even now, as we're talking about it, reflecting on it, it's very special.
I hear the sound of a gravel road. I feel the wheels of a Detroit steel taking me home. I see the house just up ahead, same to the one my daddy's son would lie awake in bed and dream myself to sleep and pray my soul to keep. Enter white church, blue collar, still running through my veins. I was born small town, deep roots, mud on these boots. I wouldn't change a thing. It's how I was born and raised. Born and raised. I'll never leave this little town. The family, the memories, the roots that I put down. Know who I am, ain't gonna change. Might find a brand new melody, but the song remains the same. I'm proud of where I'm from, yeah, we're the lucky ones. Enter white church, blue collar, still running through my veins. I was born small town, deep roots, mud on these boots. I wouldn't change a thing. That's how I was born and raised. Born and raised. That's how I was born and raised. Born and raised. That's how I was born and raised. I know the gravel road will always lead me home, somewhere that shouldn't stop. Points me to where you are. I know the gravel road will always lead me home, somewhere that shouldn't stop. Points me to where you are. Enter white church, blue collar, still running through my veins. I was born small town, deep roots, mud on these boots. I wouldn't change a thing. That's how I was born and raised. Born and raised. Born and raised. That's how I was born and raised. Born and raised. Born and raised. I'll never leave this little town.
TNCRadio.live is proud to carry the Steve Summers Overnight Drive Show. TNCRadio.live is dedicated to commercial drivers. We offer the news, traffic, and weather you need, and the entertainment, sports, talk, music, and celebrity interviews you want to hear 24/7. We have original shows and trucker podcasts that feature some of your favorites, like Ice Road Alex Demogorski and America's Truckin' Sweetheart Marcia Campbell. TNCRadio.live is convenient and designed for professional drivers. The best part is we're free, and you can listen anywhere you are on the road. With just one tap, you can tune into Steve Summers and us right on your phone. Simply download our app by going to app.tncradio.live. That's app.tncradio.live. Did you know that 80% of America's communities rely on trucking alone to deliver their goods? The trucking industry keeps America running thanks to the 3.6 million professional truck drivers traveling over 300 billion miles a year. Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward, or TMAF, tells the story of trucking and its positive impact on our economy, communities, and lives. Learn how you can be part of the industry movement working to build a strong image of trucking by visiting truckingmovesamerica.com. Welcome back to the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.live. I'm Shelley Johnson, and I'm speaking with Ty and JJ, two of the Hunter brothers, a Canadian country music sensation. We've heard just a couple of their great songs, and we're going to be featuring more. Has music helped you with your hockey career? Because you folks have really done well in hockey, too.
Well, it's always been the other way around.
Yeah.
We get asked about.
Okay.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's really cool, Shelley. Yeah, it's amazing the parallels between the two, and we didn't really realize them until we stepped into the arena of the professional realm of music, I don't think. And I think our careers were done primarily in the hockey world when we signed with our record label and really started tackling the music in a profound way. So we weren't able to maybe transfer it backwards to the hockey, but we did realize that there were a lot of similarities. I think one of the things about hockey, you work, you train hard. I was privileged to play. I mentioned to you before we started the interview that my very first NHL training camp was with the Detroit Red Wings in Michigan, up in Traverse City, Michigan. And then I attended 6 training camps with the Edmonton Oilers and really had a lot of great experiences. But you learn to live and love that adrenaline rush when you step on the ice, and you can prepare, you train, you practice, you watch game film, you do all these things, you step on the ice, and you never know what's going to happen. Maybe a team switches a game plan partway through a game and you have to adjust. Maybe they just aren't reacting the way that you thought, or there's just something that happens on the ice. And the music is much the same way. You can prepare all you want, but when you step on that stage, the variables really are different every audience that you perform for. Maybe they respond differently to different songs. Maybe there's a technical difficulty that catches you by surprise, or your monitors aren't what you want them to, or the temperature. The last show that we played, it was freezing cold night, and your fingers are it's hard to play guitars, and the guitars are going, and so you've got all these variables that you need to deal with. And I think though that rush of getting on stage and then that interaction with the people is something that we loved with the hockey, and now is transferred over into the music. Those are a few of the things.
And people can feel it, and that's why they love your energy, I think, too. Lost was one of your big hits. It's got a great hook and beat, and it hit #1 on the Canadian country radio after charting for about 20 weeks. Now, that's impressive. What year was that happened?
I believe that was 2019. We were actually on a cross Canada tour, which was a blast. We were on tour with one of our heroes, Paul Brandt, who had a career down in the United States as well, and he had just a quality person, an individual, roots in the farming or in the ranching as well, and so we were on a cross Canada tour performing that song live when it hit #1, and it was it was just a huge honor to have the people respond that way to a song that you envisioned. And I'll let Ty speak real quickly to the creative music process of it, because Lost was one that really took shape in the studio when we were there, and he and my brother Brock had some real great ideas that I'll let him speak to real quick that really took that song, but what we feel, over the top when you mention the hook.
Yeah, just sometimes a song morphs into something you don't anticipate it being. And that's part of the fun of the creative process, is something will start from one place. So you look at a demo when the original vocal is laid down and the song is created lyrically and somewhat musically, but then when you actually go to record it, it turns into something else. And for some reason, a Celtic kind of idea entered into people's minds, and that was kind of a little bit of the hook. Became this almost like, it's not a Celtic track, but you hear almost these elements of that within the electric guitar hook.
Yeah.
That started developing, and then we went, hey, well, we have Scottish roots, so we're like, this kind of this kind of works. Like, it's got this kind of feel to it that is a little bit outside of what you would maybe normally expect from a country song. But that's one thing that we've talked about, is we have 5 different personalities. You know, we talked about the hockey, you had 3 forwards and 2 defensemen, so a whole lineup. You have everybody's playing a different instrument, everybody is singing in a different vocal range, everybody like different styles of music. But if you take all of that and you throw it in the blender, then you create something that's unique. And so that's what happens in the creative process. You you might hear a Celtic influence one day and an EDM influence the next day and a Motown influence the next day, and that's because those are threads of all of our stories.
Sure. You know, and that's what people are really yearning for in the music scene. They want something different, they want something original, and they want something from the soul. And I think that's what you folks are providing, which is really cool.
Oh, well, thank you. And that's always a balancing act for us as artists, is how do you stay true to who you are, and also give the fans what they have grown to love about your music, but still progressing and developing, and then also leaning into the different interests that we each have. And that's it's a challenge, but it's also, it can be fun, but it can be challenging too at the same time. And it's always interesting to see how everybody reacts when you put out new music.
Well, judging by the length of time that Lost was on the charts, people definitely loved that song. Let's listen to Lost.
I was way out in a motel town, gassing up, not slowing down. No service and no glove box ran McNally. She flashed a sweet tea, coffee, smile at me. An angel trapped in apron strings, so I stayed until that open sign stopped blinking. I said I wanna stay right here, right here, right here. She said, if you're leaving, why don't you take me? And I got lost in her eyes, I was losing my mind. Like the sun runs into summer, we were meant to find each other. Only one way in and one way out of town. You don't need the kind of feeling that I found when I got lost. I got lost. The world out there's a passing train. This town, no, but the seasons change. We're just front porch kissing like it's going out of style. Let's stay right here, right here, right here. All the crazy places she takes me. And I got lost in her eyes, I was losing my mind. Like the sun runs into summer, we were meant to find each other. Only one way in and one way out of town. You don't need the kind of feeling that I found when I got lost. I got lost. You don't leave the kind of feeling, you don't leave the kind of feeling that I found. You don't leave the kind of feeling, you don't leave the kind of feeling, you don't leave the kind of feeling that I found. And I got lost in her eyes, I was losing my mind. Like the sun runs into summer, we were meant to find each other. Only one way in and one way out of town. You don't need the kind of feeling that I found when I got lost. I got lost. I got
There are a lot of reasons why people like your music. You definitely have a wide appeal. I think that people really like the fact that you go back to your roots. You've got a new song out called What Color You Drive. I like this song. It's really down home. It's got a down home flavor, an infectious beat, and I like the theme. It's about tractors. So I take it you guys like your tractors, right?
You bet. No, and thanks for bringing up the song. This has been one that we've been excited to release for a long time, and it took us a long time to get there. We had probably three or four or maybe even more different writes with different writers. It was a concept that we felt had a great idea, but just landing it in a way that related in the proper manner was, it took some time. And I think it stems from, Ty mentioned having conversation with somebody new about being born and raised. If you're out on the farm, the next question might be, well, what color implements do you drive? Are you a John Deere person? Or do you drive Case IH? Or do you drive, New Holland or Massey Ferguson or Gleaner? What is it? And then we wanted to expand it further than that, because I know we've got a lot of truckers listening, and some of the guys that have worked with us on the farm have spent a lot of time trucking right across Canada and the United States. And, the one guy that we had working for us, he loved his Kenworth. And then you run into the next guy and they love their Peterbilt. And the next guy's a Mack guy. And so how could we introduce not just the farm equipment, but the different style trucks? And then even beyond that, your half ton. Maybe some guys drive a Chevy, some guys are Dodge guys, some guys are Ford guys. Right. And then people driving, maybe not domestic vehicles, they've got, foreign imported vehicles, and they are really proud of those. Or like Ty always jokes, you can say what you're proud of.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know what I drive. I just know what color paint is on it. So that's everything in between. And there's a line in the song that says, as long as it gets you from A to B, it really don't matter to me. And for some people, that's the case. And then there's some people that it's like they really take pride in what they drive. So
sure.
It's on all sorts of elements.
There could be some real rivalries on the brands. Just for trivia's sake, what are the colors of tractors? I think everybody knows John Deere green. And is Massey Ferguson red?
Yeah, and there's been a few companies that have amalgamated. We grew up driving Versatile tractors, and they were red and yellow as well.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Clearly that's before my time.
Yeah, and then for quite a while we drove Case combines, which are red. Yeah. And we switched over to New Holland, which are yellow combines, but they have blue tractors. And then recently we shot the video for What Color You Drive, and we had a Claus combine, and they've gone through some different colors. They've got green and kind of cream, and they were black and yellow for a while. And then you've got Gleaners that were gray, and Fence that are black. And so there's a whole variety of. And then if you got smaller combine or tractors, you got Kubotas that are orange. And so I think there's a whole wide variety out there, and some people may not care, but there's a lot that do.
Tractors, I think, are something that if you love them, it's always there. My dad was a farm boy, like I mentioned, and he always loved his tractors. And I remember when I was a kid, he decided to get an older Massey Ferguson. He had it repainted and everything else. And that was just fun for him. He'd get out on that tractor and he was just doing stuff all the time. On his spare time, he wasn't on the farm anymore, but he had a tractor,
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And my brother Brock, who's not here with us today, he loves mechanics. And I mean, if you want to start talking brands of trucks and engines and everything with him, he'll get fired up real quick about what he cares about, what he loves. And he's put out videos on his social media, in fun, taking pot shots at people that drive Fords or whatever, because he's a Chevy guy. And so in the middle of the song, there's a part where he says, wait, what? After the line that says, as long as it gets you from A to B, it really don't matter to me. And following up, he said, you bet it matters to me. And I think that, that's a fun way of saying, people do care about what they drive. And and then there are some that don't. Some just
I think part of the fun of the track is that it's like relationships where you can take those little digs because you're having fun, and that shows the depth of the relationship because you know each other. But there's also this side that goes like, it doesn't matter, but it matters because, that seems to be not just that vein of life. It speaks to other things as well. It's like you're proud of what you own for some sort of specific reason, but you're still in it together. So I think that it just kind of encapsulates the humor, but also the human element of it.
Yeah, it makes it fun too.
Yeah, that's right.
Out in the west, country folks gonna fight about which one's best, which pulls harder, which runs smoother, what don't ever break down. Who you the keys. Is it New Holland yellow or a John Deere green? Is it a quad track smokestack, brand new or throwback, shined up or covered in mud? From Holland, hey, in a Case IH, Saskatchewan prairies or the Kansas plains. Does it got a ladder I can climb inside? Red, green, or yellow? What color you drive? What color you drive? Take a one-stack Mac with a bunk in the back. Put your feet in the peat and go and haul some wheat. Break a breaker one-nighter in your old Freightliner. The Kenny's with every penny to me. What color you drive? Show me the keys. Is it New Holland yellow or a John Deere green? Is it a quad track smokestack, brand new or throwback, shined up or covered in mud? From Holland, hey, in a Case IH, Saskatchewan prairies or the Kansas plains. Does it got a ladder I can climb inside? Red, green, or yellow? What color you drive? What color you drive? All you low-rider Chevys, all you jacked up Fords. Anybody out there driving life by the horns? Long as it gets you from A to B, it really don't matter to me. Long as it gets from A to B, it really don't matter.
Wait, what? You bet it matters to me.
Yeah, it really does matter to me. What color you drive? Show me the keys. Is it New Holland yellow or a John Deere green? Is it a quad track smokestack, brand new or throwback, shine up or covered in mud? From Holland, hey, in a Case IH, Saskatchewan prairies or the Kansas plains. Does it got a ladder I can climb inside? Red, green, or yellow? What color you drive? What color you drive? What color you drive?
The trucking industry keeps America running thanks to the 3.36 million professional truck drivers who deliver everyday goods to 80% of American communities who rely on trucking for that last mile. The industry represents a diverse group with nearly half of drivers at 42% as minorities. Trucking Moves America Forward, or TNAF, educates the public on the essentiality of trucking by telling the story of trucking and its positive impact on our economy, communities, and lives. Learn how you can join the industry movement by visiting truckingmovesamerica.com. Welcome back to the Truckers Network radio show on tncradio.live. I'm Shelley Johnson, and I'm speaking with Ty and JJ. They're two of the Hunter brothers, a Canadian pop country music sensation. We've been having fun playing their songs. There's another song here called Peace, Love, and Country Music. I like the theme of that, and I think it's really appropriate for today's world. Now, is that one of your new songs, or?
It's one of our newest tracks, yes. We released it to radio a couple months back.
Okay.
It was a song that came together quite organically. The write just flowed very naturally. It actually did stem from a place of recognizing that, especially in the last couple of years, things can become quite polarized, whether it is your viewpoints in life in different regards. And I think that as we were discussing what we were going to write that day, we just said, you know what are things that we can as human beings all rally around, and just be united in seasons that can be very challenging. There's been a lot of stress in the last period of time, and there always will be in life. And so just remembering, hey, what can I agree on with my fellow human? We're like, well, having peace and love and some country music seem to be common bridge points. Although, music choices can be subjective. Not everybody likes country, but to the point of, I think peace, love, and music, it's just kind of a common and fun phrase. But we went, no, like, let's write a song about this and just be grounded in being reminded that we're all humans at the end of the day, and we're to look out for each other, not to sling rocks. So
it's a great message. And I think people really need to start practicing that. It would make a huge difference because the world has been very polarized. Well, certainly the past 2 years, Canada and the United States have seen it. It's been crazy times.
It really has, and we understand that there are differing viewpoints, and often it's those differing viewpoints that maybe help keep everything balanced. That hopefully we meet somewhere in the middle. But at the same time, I do think that it's important that we realize that whoever we have a different viewpoint of, and it's not a bad thing to have a difference of opinion or a different thought. It's great having conversations, but it's when we start, attacking people, and if we can have conversations in love and have those discussions, then that's something that we've been challenged. Even as brothers, we've got 5, as Ty mentioned earlier, we've got 5 very different personalities living often in very close quarters, whether it's on the farm or out on the road in the music world, and we have to respect each other even though we have those differences. And how can we encourage each other? How can we come alongside one another, still recognizing the differences and not ignoring them, of course, because that wouldn't even be sensible. But how can we still love each other through that? And that's something that we do want to do in our music. We want to have a lot of fun with it. If anyone comes to our live show, we try to engage the crowd and bring a lot of fun, but we also want to bring music that brings unity as well.
You're a very charismatic group. It's very cool, and I think it's wonderful. You're brothers. Not all brothers get along. You guys get along. You really inspire people, and I think that's part of why people really enjoy your music.
Well, thank you. We do appreciate that, and we don't always get along perfectly. Like any family, we've got our differences.
Speak for yourself.
But we sure love doing it together. I couldn't imagine doing this with anybody else.
And you all do it so very well. Let's listen to peace, love, and country music.
Turned off the news and turned on stereo, and turn up some good vibes on a good time radio. On the back of a truck parked in a field, or the front of a boat with a rod and a reel, we take it and say it and play it wherever we go. I'm talking about peace, love, and country music. Yeah, we all need some to get us through it. We'd be a whole lot better of a place, better by the day, better every way, with a little more peace, love, and country music. Ooh, yeah. We get the shirt off our backs and we get a tan. If you ain't dealt the best cards, then we always lend a hand. I went to the born and raised right kind of school and came out with 3 simple rules. I'm talking about peace, love, and country music. Yeah, we all need some to get us through it. We'd be a whole lot better of a place, better by the day, love, and country music.
love and country music. Gotta love it. So what are your plans? Are you going to be touring the rest of the year? Where can people find you also?
Yeah, we have some plans for shows coming up. Coming out of the last couple of years, we've been raring to go, and so we've been fulfilling tour dates, festival dates that have been on the books for a couple of years. That was a lot of what 2022 entailed, and so heading into 2023, we're looking towards some tour dates, more festival dates. Obviously, always creating new music, and people can always check out the social media side of things, or hunterbrothers.com is our website, and you can check that out and see where we're going to be playing. And it's going to be fun to be hitting the stages for another year here.
Oh, yeah.
Shelly, I have to throw this in here because you said the radio station is based out of Houston.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know how many of your listeners are baseball fans, but
Quite a few.
Do we have a few?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, so the Astros are playing the Seattle Mariners, and we just sang the anthems, the American and the Canadian national anthem at the Blue Jays game when the Jays lost to Seattle, because we were hoping that our Blue Jays would be coming down to Houston to tackle the Astros. They got quite a powerhouse team there, but I had to throw that in because that was an event that we just did last weekend. So
That's great. That's great. Our managing partner is a huge baseball fan, Tom Kelly. So
oh wow,
he'll like hearing that.
okay, well. We would have been a big task tackling the Astros with that lineup and the pitching staff they have. But I really thought the Blue Jays were up to giving them a bit of a run, but it didn't work out that way. Seattle we blew a 8-1 lead, which was crazy.
And the Blue Jays are a tremendous team, too. Being from Michigan, I had the opportunity to watch the Detroit Tigers, as well as the Blue Jays, actually at the old stadium in Detroit. And it was a lot of fun. And it was an exciting game between the two,
Yeah, absolutely. We actually, in 2019, we sang the anthems for the home opener, and they were playing Detroit. So that was a lot of fun.
Very cool. So where do people find you again? I want people to be able to check out your music.
Yeah, so our website is hunterbrothers.com. We're on a lot of the social media platforms, so Hunter Brothers Music on Facebook, Hunter Bros on Instagram. You can check out any of those social platforms, and then obviously on Spotify, Apple Music. You can check out our music in those ways. Amazon Music, YouTube Music. There's a lot of musics out there. But any of the kind of main service platforms, just type in Hunter Brothers and we will pop up.
Excellent. This has been a lot of fun, and I wish you luck climbing to the top. I see you guys doing great things in the music scene for a long, long time.
Thank you so very much. That means a lot. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you, Shelly.
I appreciate it. Thank you. You've been listening to a great interview with Ty and JJ Hunter from the Hunter Brothers. Definitely check out their music online. It's terrific. This has been the Truckers Network Radio Show with Shelley Johnson. Stay tuned for more great programming on tncradio.live. Thank you for listening to another great interview on tncradio.live and the Truckers Network Radio Show. All of the material you hear on tncradio.live, on our website, our broadcasts, or our podcasts are copyrighted. There can be no distribution without the express consent of tncradio.live and its partners. For inquiries, write us at info@tncradio.live. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast of the Truckers Network Radio Show.